Hi, good evening. Trust you've had a good day today, and a good wrap up to the end of the week. I'm going to finish this week. We've been talking about communications for the bulk of the week, and I'm going to finish on one area which I'd like you to take away and have a think about, and that is again on the communication side, but it's whole body listening. And there is a fairly well-known statistic out there, and that statistic is that through listening, your ears, eyes, and what we saw with that whole body through the heart, essentially you will pick up, in terms of the intended message, through your ears, 7%. Through your eyes, you'll pick up 55%. And here's the interesting part: that feeling that you get from the conversation, from the communication, you pick up 38% from your heart. The idea is that actually that whole ambience of really being involved. So when you apply the 6 tips that we've talked about previously this week, and then you start to look in terms of what you hear, what you see, and what you feel in a communication, in a conversation with somebody, really does start to put that into context. Simple way to put it into context: today there is a very two-dimensional world. We communicate immensely through email, through Facebook. How many times when you communicate just through those two means alone do you almost perceive that there is a different edge to the message? And yet actually when you get to the nuts and bolts of it, when you get down to the bottom of it, and you've actually had that conversation to establish the true meaning, it hasn't been. It's just the way it's been written. I mean, for me, during my army days, when we first had email coming out, I didn't realise for years I was shouting at people because apparently if you write in capital letters on emails, that's shouting. So that has an emphasis. So that the ears, the eyes, the heart, it really does play a big part in the bigger picture when you're communicating. And I think at the end of the week, I'd like you to take this away as a final note to wrap up our brief conversations throughout the week. So that communication, that ability to listen, to see, to feel what's going on, that's the first step. The notion that all of that information that you're getting in, it then leads to what it is you're going to learn through that communication, through that conversation, through effective listening, through being engaging, through really getting involved with the other half of the conversation. What do you learn? And then the final bit to that is then it allows you to act and respond appropriately, and that's the real key part. All of those little bits and nuances of information and that you hadn't been picking up, the bits of message that you'd missed because you weren't listening effectively. Suddenly you hear so much more. You're open to so much more, and it gives you the ability to act and respond appropriately. So, wrapping up the communication: listen, learn, act. Communicate effectively. Take on board some of the advice that I've given this week. Put it into action. Try it out and see what happens. And I'd be really delighted for your feedback on this week to see just how much, when you put this, these very simple tips into play, how much more information, how much more you glean, whether it's your social, whether it's your family, or whether it's business. Have a great weekend. I will catch up with you again tomorrow. Until then, good night.